Welcome back to the Next Level Confident podcast. My name is Janelle Lene, and I have with me today, Frankie Vignone, my husband. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You have a sleepy. It's going to bother me this whole time. Let me just try to get that off. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of being in a power couple relationship, which I had this idea. I'll explain later why I had this idea to begin with, but Frankie was like, that sounds really cocky. Hey, you're not even like in the screen. Get in here. Get in here. Okay. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that now you can see Frankie's whole face. We were talking about the pros and cons of being in a power couple relationship. So we thought it'd be kind of an interesting podcast. And then Frankie was like, yeah, that sounds kind of cocky that we're like the pros and cons of being in a power couple relationship. Like we're such a power couple, but we have been told like so many times, I literally, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say like every person we meet.
That sounds pretty cocky. Don't use hyperboles.
Okay. We've been told many a times that we're a power couple. So sorry if it sounds cocky. Sorry, not sorry. You can be in a power couple relationship too. Our power couple relationship doesn't.
So why are we doing this podcast?
We are doing this podcast because the goal is to help those of you who are single or dating, especially, to be thinking about what type of relationship you're looking to attract into your life, because not everyone actually will want to be in a power couple relationship because there are actually some solid cons. And so that's why I want to talk about it, because I want you to be thinking about like, what am I looking for in my person? So this is definitely more for probably single people or someone who's dating, or maybe you're in a relationship and you're trying to decide like, is this the right person for me? This is going to be a good one to listen to. But Frankie, didn't you say you had a question to start off with?
I'd like to start by asking, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh my gosh.
Just one.
Just one. My favorite childhood memory. I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is like all of my birthday parties. And the main one that comes to mind is, so I grew up in upstate New York, and I had a birthday party that had a bunch of we all brought our American Girl dolls with us because I had an American Girl doll and I loved her so much. Her name was Kirsten. If anyone had Kirsten, let me know. So yeah, everyone brought their American Girl dolls if they had one. And then if you didn't have one, you could bring a different doll. And we all dressed up in like a little like tea party outfit, which is kind of funny because I'm going to a tea party tomorrow. So, yeah, I think that was it. Although I do remember there was some drama at that birthday party. Because my best friend was Natalie Lamb, and
shout out Natalie
if you're listening. And Natalie was supposed to sit next to me at my birthday party because she's my bestie. But then I had this neighbor named Tamar, and Tamar was really awesome too. We were also really close, but she was like 3 years younger than me. So I wouldn't have necessarily considered her like my bestie, but she was a good friend. She took the seat that Natalie was supposed to sit in.
No.
Yeah. And like Natalie for years could not forgive Tamar. Like, how dare you take my seat at Janelle's birthday party?
Unbelievable.
Not okay. What about you, Frankie? What's one of your favorites? Just one of your favorite childhood memories?
I knew you were going to ask me and I wasn't prepared.
Well, neither was I.
Oh man, childhood. It was blast. But if I had to pick one, I'll stick with the birthday theme and I'll say bring in Jonathan the magician.
Oh yeah, Jonathan.
For my 6th birthday party.
Oh my gosh, what kind of like tricks did he do? Or
I'll tell you, but I can't tell you how he did them.
Oh well, yeah, a magician never tells their tricks.
He told me because it was my birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's special.
Yeah, it was great.
So
lots of juggling, lots of card tricks.
Did he wear like a clown outfit or anything?
No, he was like serious. He wore a suit.
Oh, a suit.
Yeah, he's not clowning around. Yeah. He's a magician.
Duh, not a clown.
Serious profession.
Obviously.
It is. I mean, you could, if you're the best magician, you could freaking have a residence at Vegas and make millions of dollars and please millions of people with the illusions you provide.
Right. But do you think that the guy what was your guy's name again?
Jonathan.
I mean, I'm not hating on Jonathan, but do you think he really was the best? I mean, if he was at a 6-year-old birthday party.
For my 6-year-old brain, he was the best. He was like a neighborhood magician where he would do birthday parties, and then our neighborhood would host like these big block parties, and he would always be there. So he's kind of like the neighborhood resident magician.
Oh, I love that. Well, I feel like that's a good entrepreneurial side hustle. Like if someone's looking for a side hustle, you could be an entrepreneur via being a magician in your neighborhood, maybe.
Proud of him.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that memory with us.
Thanks, Jonathan, for providing it.
You're the best. Thanks to my mom for providing an awesome tea party, American Girl doll party. I think I was like 7 or 8, if I were to guess. I have some pictures of that birthday party. Do you have pictures of your birthday party?
Oh, yeah.
We should find those. That'd be fun. Okay. Let's get into the valuable part of the podcast. So first things first, I wanted to, and if it looks like Frankie's distracted, it's because he literally always does this.
Petting Denny.
He's petting our dog who's laying next to him.
So cute. I love her.
I love her too.
Can we show her for the YouTube listeners?
Okay, yeah. If you're on YouTube watching, you can see Denny. You probably
rolling over behind a belly rub.
She wants a belly rub.
Oh my God. Get up.
Oh, girl, everyone wants to see you.
Oh my gosh.
She's literally laying on her back, wanting a full-on belly rub right now. There she is. Hi, Denny. What do you have to say to the show? She's panting in the mic, so maybe you can hear her.
She's so cute.
She's so cute.
She hates this though.
She does hate it.
All right. Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it, my love. You're so cute. Love how much you love Denny. Frankie's actually probably a better dog pawent than I am, to be honest.
You said it, not me.
Okay, let's define what a power couple is. So I did a little bit of research preparing for this. And the Oxford definition is a couple consisting of 2 people who are influential or successful in their own right. Then, of course, I wanted to see the Urban Dictionary, which if you don't know what that is, it's like generally a little bit more like less professional. And it says a relationship between 2 people equally as cool as each other. Neither one depends on the other for their feelings of self-worth. They know in their heart that they are just as valuable to the world as they are to each other. I thought that was a really
That's a good definition.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool definition. So, Frankie, what do you feel like your definition of a power couple is?
Well, I think my definition of a power couple is 2 individuals that come together that alone are already successful in the world and already influential in their space. It doesn't mean they need to be like influencers on Instagram or TikTok, but like influential in their own right and successful. And then they meet and then they get married or they're together or they're dating or whatever, and they are more powerful together.
Ooh, I love that. They're more powerful together than they are apart.
It's kind of in the name. Is that cheating?
Well, no, because I feel like power couple, I guess that is kind of in the name, but I like the definition of like they're more powerful together than they are apart. Because I don't know. I just think that was good. I liked it.
How about you?
When I think of a power couple, yeah, I think I mean, really, it's like everything you just said. It's like 2 people who are already successful in their fields, or maybe honestly, it's not that 2 people have to be already successful in their fields when they meet. Like, I feel like 2 people could probably meet and both not be like necessarily all that successful or something like that. But then they could grow into becoming a power couple as they grow their careers, Like I love this show Dream Home Makeover on Netflix, and it's about Sid and Shea McGee, and they're like the new big interior design people. So if you haven't watched it on Netflix, highly recommend that show. But I love watching. I read articles about their story, and it's all about how like they got married, and I think they just had, I don't know, like whatever normal type jobs. And then Shea started posting interior design stuff on Instagram. And then they like slowly but surely started to build up a brand together. And they lived in Orange County, but then they were willing to move from Orange County to Utah because she really wanted to like grow the company. And they like sold their home in Orange County because they owned a home. And then they took that sold home and they were willing to use the money from it to start the business in Utah, because obviously living in Utah is like way cheaper than living in Orange County. And then now they have this like huge company. I think they have like over 100 employees. And now he's the CEO, and then she's the like most like the face of the brand and everything. I don't know what that's called, but I would consider them a power couple, but they weren't necessarily a power couple when they got married. So what's cool about, I feel like the idea of power couple is you don't really have to be powerful necessarily before you meet, but it's like you could become it also after you meet each other.
I think the key though is that you individually you're on your own journey, you're on your own path, and there's no codependence, there's no neediness from the other person. Like, of course there is dependence on each other, but it's not like you don't get in a relationship and the other person doesn't complete you. It's like you're already I think the key is that you're already a healthy individual stepping into the relationship. And then because of that, because you're already whole, healthy, and on your path, like the other person is the same way, then you two create the powerful couple.
Yeah, I agree. No matter what, I think that there's like the career aspect of a power couple where it's like you're both being successful within your career path. But then I think on the flip side, I think it has to do with an emotional thing that like no career could really do or not do for you. Because I guess you could probably have a successful career, but still be really insecure, codependent, low vibe, like just attracting people who kind of walk all over you. So yeah, I mean, a lot of clients that I work with, when I first work with them, they are really successful in their career, but that doesn't mean that they're like confident. And so they a lot of times attract more like codependent type relationships, or even just toxic relationships where they're being like taken advantage of by their significant other because my client, when we first start working together, she doesn't see her value properly. Then she attracts someone who also doesn't see her value. So you attract someone who treats you the way you treat yourself. So I like what you're saying is like the power couple is more than just a career thing. It's also like an emotional thing where like you're really confident and not full of yourself. That's not the right word, but I was going to say like full of self-worth. Like you have a high self-esteem. And because of that high self-esteem, you don't like need that other person to be happy. You were happy prior to meeting them.
Amen.
What do you think?
I agree.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about, maybe we start with some of the cons. What do you feel like are some of the cons of being in a power couple relationship? Since we're apparently saying that we are in a power couple relationship, you can disagree if you'd like, that's totally fine, but we're just self-proclaiming it. So what do you feel like are some potential cons in our relationship, or even like someone else in a power couple relationship?
You can overwork. You can find your value in like your overworkingness, and sometimes communication is a little bit more challenging because you're just like doing your thing. So for us, when we first got married, it was, I think this probably happens no matter what, but I guess I'll use us as an example. When we were just so wrapped up in our own individual walks of life for work or friends or whatever, you come together and you're like, okay, well, now we got to come together, communicate more, be more open with what we're doing throughout the day, and can't just like assume that the other person knows, or like, oh, I probably should have told my wife that I'm like going to hang out with my friend on Thursday at 5 p.m. But I think that no matter what, power couple or not, that's going to happen in marriage. So yeah, but I don't know, that's what came to mind for me.
I do think like the career part's a really good point, because I think like, so Frankie is an Enneagram 3 and I'm an Enneagram 8. And so like the number one pitfall that it says to look out for that relationship style is like overworking. And I know that definitely, like, I'm really driven towards my career. Frankie's really driven in his career in tech sales. And he has his own podcast as well. So like, I feel like we're both so driven in our careers that there definitely have been times where we like have to take a step back and be like, okay, have we made time for our relationship recently? Are we working too late into the evening? Are we working too much like on a weekend? We've been pretty good about those boundaries. So I'm not trying to say like, I definitely feel like, actually, I feel like when we first got married, I was more like, we need to have better boundaries. And you were used to like your habits of working more nights and weekends. And so then like we kind of like met in the middle, where then I like became more okay with sometimes working nights and weekends, and you became more okay with like working less nights and weekends. Do you think that's true?
Now I feel like you work more nights and weekends than I do.
I know that's true.
Actually, lately with like the launches you've been doing.
Yeah, like ever since like Confident Life Academy launched, and then now my new masterclass, the top top 3 reasons why you're struggling to find confidence. Like ever since I've been like in this push mode of like, and even my book, you know, like it's been like the last year and a half has been a really busy year and a half creating really incredible stuff to help people. And so I feel like, yeah, it's just, I've been working a little bit more now, which is kind of crazy because I never thought that would happen.
Me neither.
But yeah, that is definitely one thing that as a power couple, it's easy to get really wrapped up in work and not like focus as much on each other. So I know we have to be really intentional and just be really communicative. If I'm like, Frankie, I feel like I need attention. That's literally what we say to each other.
I got another good pitfall.
Oh, okay, cool. Get in here.
Traditionally, well, you're hogging up the ever-loving space. Traditionally, when you're not in a power couple relationship, usually the person is trying to like save the other person or help the other person. So realizing that when you get into a power couple relationship, like the other person doesn't want necessarily for you to coach them or for you to like change who they are. Like they're already probably good with who they are. That doesn't mean that the other person can't give advice or say, yeah, like you challenging me around work boundaries actually is super helpful because I became more productive and effective at work and I could rest the way I needed to. But I mean, to throw you under the bus, like the way you delivered it at first, you were like, Coach Janelle, like, this is what you do. You weren't asking me what I wanted. And we had to have several conversations about that. And like, I'm sure you could find examples where I did similar things to you. So I would say that to sum up what I just mentioned is you don't, as power couples, the caution is don't always try and fix the other person still.
Yeah.
And I would say, even if you're not in a power couple relationship, you probably shouldn't do that anyway.
Right. Right. But I would say that like when you're not in a power couple relationship, like the other one person is generally a little bit more like malleable to the other person's desires and lifestyle. And it's kind of like a lot of times there's one person who will kind of just like bend over backwards for the other person. The stronger personality kind of dominates. And then like the weaker, well, that sounds bad to say that, but maybe the more gentle personality, they kind of like
the beta.
Yeah, that's probably that is a good word for it. The beta might be a little like, okay, I'll just do whatever you want. Like whatever works for you works for me, you know? And so, yeah, when you're in a power couple relationship, it definitely is like when it came to moving to, you know, for those of you who don't know, when Frankie and I first met, we met long distance. I was living in San Diego. He was living in Denver, and I had moved from Colorado to San Diego, like, I think 2 years or so before you and I met. So I didn't want to move back to Colorado. And that was a really big like point of contention for us because we were doing long distance and we both knew we wanted to get married. We knew we wanted to be together. We were like head over heels crazy about each other, but we kept being like, where are we going to live? Because I didn't really want to move to Denver and he didn't really want to move to San Diego. So we felt like a lot of like tension. And I think again, like if you're maybe in a more like normal relationship, one person is maybe a lot more easygoing or a lot more like, whatever, like, I'll just do whatever you want to do. But if you're in a power couple relationship, gosh, we went on for months trying to figure out where we're going to live. And I'm like, I'm not moving to Denver. And you're like, I'm not moving to San Diego. And I'm like, I'm not moving. So then we started joking, like, do we just do like a long distance marriage or like, what do we do? And ultimately, again, for those who don't know, I ended up being like, okay, I'll move to Denver for you for 1 year. And that was a really big sacrifice for me. And our like little terms and conditions where I said, I'll move to Denver for 1 year. And if at the end of 1 year, I'm still not happy there, then you have to move to San Diego. And then if you live here for a year and you're not happy here after a year, then we'll move somewhere totally different, totally random, you know, neutral Switzerland type place. Not actually Switzerland, but like we were like maybe Austin, Texas, or something like that. Austin
came up so much.
Austin would come up a lot. And then we'd have like random things where like, maybe we are supposed to move to Austin, but now we don't really feel like we're going to move to Austin ever. So, but all that goes to say, yeah, like I feel like if you're used to, like, I have a big personality, and I think like I used to date people in the past sometimes who like, they would just do a lot of like whatever I wanted them to do. And that kind of feels good for your ego. Cause you're like, I can just, like, I make the decisions, like, but when you're in a power couple relationship, you definitely both have to learn how to release some of your expectations. You both have to, I guess, I don't know why the word I keep thinking of is like the biblical word of like submit, but you both like kind of submit to each other in different ways. Like you both come up with ways to just be like, okay, like I'm going to release this. And we just go back and forth with that,
Yeah.
I thought of actually one more thing I wanted to add on to this point, which is when you're in an unhealthy place, it feels really good to be a helper. So you love helping other people. And Frankie and I can both attest to the fact that we both dated people that we tried to help change them. And we felt like we were doing the best thing for them, right? Like when you're trying to change someone or help someone, you feel like you're welcome. Like I know what's best for you. Just listen to all my advice and I can help change you. But ultimately not everyone wants to be changed. Not everyone, like, I think it's like unfair to both parties because the person you're trying to change, like they might not want what you're trying to tell them to do, even though you think it's best. That might not actually be what's best for them. Or maybe it is. I mean, there are certain scenarios, like if they're an alcoholic or something and you want them to be sober, that is what's best for them. But that doesn't mean they're willing to make those changes. But I think that when you are used to like changing people, your ego feels really good. Like, oh, I'm such a hero. Look at me go. I changed all these, like I changed the guys. Or even I feel like, I don't know if guys have this at all, but women, I feel like there's almost this idea, and I think movies even plant this, that's like, it's like you're being, let's see what, I lost my train of thought as I was saying it. Movies are almost like shining, making it seem really awesome when a woman meets a guy who's like really broken and kind of like has his life falling apart, but then she's able to change him. And then it's like, da-da-da-da, like, and all of a sudden he becomes this amazing guy and he's not an a-hole anymore. And he's so wonderful. Do you feel like there's like, does that happen for movies for like guys being
I've never noticed it, but you're probably right.
I don't know if it goes the other direction, but I definitely know it happens for women because I feel like there's so many romantic movies or rom-coms where it's like the guy's not that great, the woman's awesome, but she changes the guy, and there's like this big, like, you feel so good because you're able to change him. But like that's just Hollywood, and the reality is a lot of times you can't change the people that you're with, no matter what, like whether you're in a power couple or not. So I just think like, if you're not in a power couple relationship, like you have to be healthy enough to like realize that you can't just be someone's hero, and that you both are your own heroes in a way.
Agreed.
No other thoughts?
I mean, I think it's, at the end of the day, it's, the key is knowing who you are, knowing where you're going. And then if you're single, that's going to attract the other person towards you. If you're not, if you are single, that's going to attract the other person towards you. And either way, like you'll be good no matter what happens. So like the key is just building yourself up and focusing on how you can become the best version of yourself, and not so much worrying about, oh, I need to go chase after somebody or I need to go attract somebody. It's like, just be who you are and be the best version of yourself, and that person will come into your life. And then because of that, you shouldn't be looking for necessarily broken people, even though we're all broken.
Right.
But like somebody else that's good with or without you too. And that's kind of like a scary, not scary, but it's almost like you have to have a lot of confidence doing that. And I think that's why it's so easy to be in a relationship where you're like, quote unquote, helping somebody else. Cause it's like, oh, it gives you more security as the person that is the powerful person, because you're the one that's helping them. And you're like, well, they need me, I don't need them.
Wow.
So actually getting into a power couple is quote unquote riskier, I'd say, because you know that like with or without you, the other person's going to be okay.
Wow.
But that just gives you the ability to, I mean, it just comes back to having confidence.
Yeah.
And if you need confidence, I know a person.
It's almost like this is all about confidence.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
That makes sense, or I don't know what I'm saying.
It's really good. I feel like that was super powerful. I was like, wow, mic drop, baby. Mic drop, baby. Okay, I think I have one more con to add in, and then we'll think of some pros. Actually, I think I have two. So one is another one. I think we're on like, I don't know if we're on point number 3 or what, but when you're not in a power, or when you are in a power couple relationship, a con is that things around the house, I think, can fall to the wayside more easily, because I feel like I'm really focused on my career a lot. Frankie's focused on his career a lot. And again, I guess this is focusing more on the career aspect. But then what happens is like sometimes we, like, the house doesn't get as clean, or like just things that have to happen around the house kind of fall to the wayside. Whereas like, if one person was more of like the stay at home person, or even like, not even like stay at home, but like if one person, to be honest, like, I don't know if this sounds bad to say out loud, but if one person's like less driven towards their career, then it's probably like that person's probably more likely to be like cleaning the house and doing the dishes and like those types of things, because they just have more time on their hands and they don't really care as much about their career. I don't know. Do you think that's like a limiting belief? I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think if I agree with that or not, because I think some people can procrastinate. Like there's this book called Essentialism that we both love.
Yeah, we love Essentialism.
And it talks about how you're supposed to focus on the one thing that will yield the highest results. And he gives this example of this woman that, maybe this is a good example for your story, but gives this example of a woman that's trying to write a book. She like wants to become an author, and she's married to some other guy that like has a career. He's the breadwinner in the family. And it's like the wife that stays at home, takes care of the kids, but she's always had this dream to write a book.
Yeah.
And she always, every single morning, like instead of sitting down and like spending an hour writing a book, she'll like first thing get up. Oh, I got to clean the house. Oh, I got to do the dishes. Oh, I got to take care of the kids. And she's like, by the time I get done, I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
But then the author challenges her and says, well, is that the highest yield towards your goal? And she's like, no, but somebody needs to like take care of all these things. So she would default to just cleaning the kitchen, taking care of the kids, making food, versus working on like the dream that she had inside of her, which is to write a book. So if she just spent the first 60 minutes writing a book, she would, become an author versus just spinning her wheels, cleaning every day. So I say all that to say that I agree with you, that it's probably a default for some people. Yeah. But I think it's also limiting beliefs, maybe.
Yeah. Cause obviously like you don't have to work, like I don't work 10 or 12 hours a day. I'd say like you and I often, well, I don't know. I've been getting better at working like shorter days and like putting like today I went and got a pedicure and Botox in the middle of my work day. So that was nice. Mm-hmm. And yesterday I went to acupuncture at 3:00. So I do definitely like, I don't work that much. I guess I don't work crazy hours. Like I probably work maybe anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day, but maybe 5 hours on some days if I'm doing a lot of stuff, a lot of self-care stuff. But I do self-care stuff usually in my off time, as opposed to being like, I have to clean the house. Mm-hmm. Granted, we do like to keep a clean house, but I definitely notice like our cleaning falls to the wayside more. So yeah, like for that woman in that book, for example, I actually don't remember that part of Essentialism, but that's a really incredible story. I think it's a great example how a woman might let her dreams fall to the wayside if she is a stay-at-home mom, because it's so easy to be like, I have to keep the house clean. And obviously a lot of the kid stuff is like, more like you can't just like, bye kid, can't talk to you, I need to do something. But I do think there's a way to, like, I have a friend who a lot of times I'll be like, why don't you just hire like a mommy's helper, which I learned recently is like when you have someone in the neighborhood who's like 12 or 13, like they're not that old, but they could just watch the kids while you go do something at home. Like you're all at home at the same time. But then that younger 11, 12-year-old girl is helping. Well, sorry, that was very sexist of me. It could be an 11-year-old or 12-year-old boy, but it's like a younger, I'm just saying it's not like a 16-year-old or 17-year-old, 18-year-old. It's like someone who's a bit younger and maybe wouldn't be trusted completely home alone for you to go out on your date or something, but you're all home at the same time, but you're able to go write your book for that hour while that, younger 11 or 12-year-old is playing with your younger kids, something like that. So all that goes to say, you might have to be willing to like let some things fall to the wayside, like cleaning the house. And like, she might not be able to keep the house as clean, but she'd write the freaking book. And which is more important, like a perfectly clean house every day or a book that is leaving a legacy? In my opinion, it's definitely writing a book and leaving a legacy.
Agreed. Let's move to pros. What do you say?
Wait, no, I have one more con.
Oh,
I thought, I had two more left. My last con, and I don't think we need to say too much on this, but my last con is that there could be potential jealousy of one another's success, especially if one person is in a slump. So I feel like, to be like vulnerable and open, there's definitely been times when Frankie is like crushing it at work, and things have been a little bit slow for me. And obviously I'm not like actually mad or being like, oh my gosh, I can't say it. But I'm like, there's a part of it's like, dang, like here he is crushing it, getting all these opportunities, like all these deals are closing for him. And there's been like a lull in my business. And that definitely, I think, can sometimes lead to feelings of just like, what's wrong with me, or like comparison, or even like competition. Like, I feel like sometimes Frankie and I are a little bit competitive, where like, if I make more than him 1 month or something like that, then I'll be like, I beat you, like all this stuff. So and then he'll be like, yeah, you're my sugar mom. I'm like, yeah, dang right. So I feel like sometimes with a power couple, you can experience a little bit of jealousy with each other's success. And I think that just keeps coming back to like, you all know how I think about this kind of stuff is like, if you experience jealousy, instead of trying to like pretend like it's not real, or like shove it down, or like get rid of it, just talk about it and be like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. And it's because my business has been in a slump, and because this hasn't been as good as I wanted it to be. And I see you crushing it, and just talk about it, and you're going to feel a release from it.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you ever felt jealousy of me?
I mean, not really, but sometimes like you're living your dream and passion, but I don't really feel jealousy that much, to be honest.
Nice. I don't feel like I feel it that much, but I have occasionally felt it. So I thought it was worth saying.
That's good.
And I think that like, I don't know, I just always want to talk about all the things and not like have topics be off limits. So totally. Okay, let's move on to the pros. Frankie, what do you feel like is one of the best pros about being in a power couple relationship?
Great question.
Basically, there are none. Okay, we're breaking up. I'm joking.
The biggest pro is not having to like worry about the other person. I just feel like in the past with other relationships, I always was like, oh, if I took her to a party, a work party, or, I go do something, or if I'm becoming more successful, I'm like, oh, I'm always like worrying about the other person. Not that I'm not worried about you, but I'm also like, she's a big girl. She can handle it. Like she'll figure it out. And, yeah. So like, I guess less space in my brain of worrying about like how you're feeling, and more knowing that you can handle it on your own, but knowing that like you would love my support. So it's more of like additive to what you are already successful at, but not like me filling your gaps, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I feel the same way about you. Like there's definitely been times where I'm going to a networking event, or going to a Christmas party, or going to a family function, or any of those things. And I'd be like dating a guy and bring him with me. It's like a boyfriend. And I kind of feel like I could check in a lot and almost like babysit a little bit, where I'm like, is he okay? I'm like, oh, if I haven't checked in a little bit, I got to go like make sure he's okay. But I feel like with you, I can like totally trust you when we go to stuff, that I don't have to like make sure you're okay. Like we both can hold our own. We both are big girls and big boys. And so, yeah, it just gives you like a peace of mind knowing that you don't have to like constantly check in kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we do a good job checking in too, because I actually have had other relationships where we like never checked in on each other, and we were almost like too hyper independent. So I feel like we have a really good balance of being like independent, but we still like, if we haven't talked for a little bit at a party, we like come back together.
We have to check in to say that we need to leave, because we always stay so long.
We always stay way too long. We're like, we're going to leave early this time. And then we like never leave early. Okay.
What's your pro?
What's my pro? My pro is, I just think it's fun. Like I love when we go on date nights and we're both talking about like business, and like, I'm like, so what deals are you closing? And like, what's going on in your work, or how's your podcast doing, and things like that. And I just think it's like exciting being able to like both talk about our business. Whereas like, even in some of my friendships that are a little bit less business minded, we just don't talk about my business at all, because obviously that's not something that they're ever thinking about is business. So we kind of tend to talk about things that are like comfortable and happening in their life, which is totally fine. I know that all, friendships are all different in different ways, and that they're all beautiful in different ways. But I think like if I was married to someone who like, well, first of all, didn't have like a growth mindset, and wasn't like excited about personal development, and wasn't excited about like growth and like having a vision, like you have like a vision for your life, you have a vision for our life, I have a vision for our life, like, so we can dream big and talk about big things, and talk about our careers, and talk about where we're headed, and talk about like just all the like beautiful things that make our life together. And so I love being able to honestly, like a daily basis. And that's part of why we're doing this podcast together, is because I had so many people be like, you and Frankie, like, what do you guys talk about? I'd love to be, I've just heard people say, I want to be a fly on the wall and hear your guys' conversations. And like, these are literally the kinds of conversations we have on a regular basis, is we're just like talking about mindset stuff and confidence stuff and growth mindset and our careers. And I just can't imagine being married to someone who like, we didn't share that same passion for life, Totally. You're starting to get tired, huh?
Yes.
He's getting tired, folks. It is 5:47 on a Friday night. He's had a one beer. I've had my glass of wine. We're about to head to our date night.
Could we
in La Jolla
wrap it up?
I think so. I feel like we just talked about cons the whole time, though.
No, we talked about pros.
We did.
How do you become a power couple?
Like if you're not a power couple, if you're in a date.
If you're dating, like how do you become the person that doesn't need somebody else?
That's a great question. I mean, I think
I asked it.
I think that's like a lot of like everything that I teach is like how to become a confident woman. Like obviously all of the content that I create is more towards women, although there's a lot of guys who reach out to me and they're like, I love your content. It helps me a bunch. And I'm not a woman. So obviously men too. But it really is all about becoming the person that person would want to be with. And I think if you want to be in a power couple relationship, then that means that you need to become powerful by yourself. Like you can't think I'm going to become a powerful person or feel really confident or feel really good once I meet my person. You got to feel that right now. You got to feel confident in your skin, feel powerful, be excited about your vision for your life, be excited for your career, be excited about the growth that you're experiencing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, every aspect of your life, and just growing and hungry for that growth. And yeah, I think that like, as long as you have that inside of you and you're continually growing and reaching further for yourself in a healthy way, obviously there's a time and a place for like rest, and there's a time and a place for, relaxation, all that good stuff. So I'm not just saying like I'm very anti-hustle culture, but I just mean it's really the mindset of like expansion and the mindset of having a vision and the mindset of like knowing where you're headed and believing that God's going to provide for you in big, wild ways. And like, I don't know, like, I just think having that first and foremost and believing that someone amazing is going to come into your life. Like if you're single right now and you're like so excited to meet your person, you might be strangling the process because you're constantly waiting to meet your person. And I would encourage you to work on your own confidence and your own mindset and become this person that you're really, really, really proud of when you look in the mirror. And then when you meet someone, you're going to attract someone who's like you. Because ultimately, if you don't take care of you, like attracts like, so you're going to just attract someone who's like you. So if you have a lot of insecurities and you're not super happy with who you are, you're going to attract someone who's either just like that, or you're going to attract someone who treats you like that, even if they are, potentially like more confident or cocky or something like that.
That's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I have a way that you can become more confident. You can check out Janelle's masterclass that's coming out.
That's true. I'll link the masterclass below. The top 3 reasons why you're currently struggling to find confidence. That actually I just released it today on Instagram, and I've already had 10 people sign up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've seen all the work that you put into it, and it's been cool to see you wake up and do that and not do the dishes.
I did do the dishes this morning, actually. So that was a big day.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, exactly.
We're both power couple crushing dishes.
Oh, that's actually one more pro is that when you're in a power couple, like you split things up more. So like Frankie helps with like dishes and cooking and laundry and all that. So in fact, he does like almost all the laundry, if we're being honest. I feel like dishes and cooking were pretty 50-50.
I think I do more cooking.
Yeah.
I go to Trader Joe's and heat that stuff up in the microwave.
And then if I make a meal, it's like a little bit more gourmet than what you're usually making, let's be honest. So it might be.
But I definitely do the laundry and I walk the car. Yeah. But that's like my Sunday routine, so I like it.
And before I met you,
don't take that away from me.
Before I met you, I had no problem going to Trader Joe's and washing the car. So I wasn't like sitting around with a dirty car. I love having a clean car. Anyway, I digress. I think the last thing I want to say on this, and Frank, you can add in anything you want, is that whether you're single or dating, or even if you're in a relationship or married, you have to have a vision for your life and where you're headed. And the more you focus on you and your strengths and your power and sitting there and getting clear on where am I headed? What's my vision for my life? Once you start to do that more and more, you're going to either one, attract someone who is in a like-minded place to you, or two, if you are dating or married and you're with someone that you're, in a committed relationship with, they will start to see you change and they will often level up. So many times I've had clients who they're married and even their marriage has been in a lull, and like she's in a low confidence place and she's like, my confidence at work isn't great. And there's a lot of different low confidence areas. And then that's starting to like take a toll on the marriage. But then as soon as she changes her mindset and her confidence, it'll actually empower her husband to start making those changes as well, because he's so inspired and so encouraged by the way that she's making changes. So if you're in a relationship, like you can't just change the person, try to change that person, just try to change yourself. Just again, whether you're single or in the relationship, focus on changing you and the rest will fall in place.
No, I agree. I think that's the theme. Work on yourself and you will attract success, the person, all the things you want.
Yeah.
And get on Janelle's masterclass. It's free, right?
It's free. It's totally free. Yeah. And there's different times available, so you can pick which time works best for you. Yeah, I just feel like we didn't talk about, hold on. I know we're done. We are wrapping up. We are landing the plane, but I just want to say, even though we didn't really talk about the pros that much.
We did talk about it a lot.
I feel like if there was like a time, okay, I feel like we talked about cons more. So all I was going to say is like, we obviously believe that it is a pro to be like, overall, we would choose being in a power couple relationship, obviously, over a non-power couple relationship. I think that's worth saying, right?
Amen.
I think it was probably obvious, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm an over communicator. Frankie knows that.
It's good.
It's my thing. I just over communicate. So feel free to share this podcast if you got something valuable out of it, if it made you laugh, if you felt like you were hanging out with Frankie and I, having a drink with us, and like, comment, subscribe. What are the other things you do? Follow on Instagram. Share.
Review. Did you say review?
Leave a review.
5 stars or don't leave one.
If it's anything other than 5 stars, honestly, don't leave a review. Thank you for spending some time with us. We really appreciate these organic, fun, silly, also hopefully valuable conversations. So look forward to talking to you in the next one. Peace.